But yeah, cool. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the first demo day of the first cohort of the UCSB Accelerator. I'm super excited that everyone's here. I would say if anyone has a relation with UCSB, which I assume most people do, I'm pretty sure it's a very exciting day because I believe it's, the start of the reform of like tech and startups at UCSB. Already UCSB is a pretty insane research school, but I do believe research and startups are, the best vehicle for impact. And so this is just kind of the start of the manifestation of that. Also, it's worth knowing a lot of the ecosystem other than just this accelerator will be changing. A lot of VC money going into UCSB, a lot of startup programs, things like Playa House, the founder residency, all of these things will be expanding. And the first, 3 YC companies to ever come out of, UCSB students was all like within less than a year. And they were all kind of affiliated with this program. So I think it's pretty cool, pretty good like start to what will eventually happen with UCSB. So yeah, our first cohort had an acceptance rate of about 3% with a total of 6 startups. The cohort has gotten very close. We all work together at Playa House weekly, which I think has helped a lot with like the fast pace that we have in this program. Everyone, like for context, started with basically no traction. And now like a lot of teams have revenue, they have grants, contract, and even, funding, which is insane. So just for reference, if anyone has questions during the actual event for any of the startups, ask them individually, like after the event is over. I will also send this Notion, which has all the info on the contact info and slides for all the startups. So you can see that in the chat right now. And yeah, Joaquin, do you want to start off?
Yes, we can definitely start it. Alrighty, here, let me share my screen here. Okay, can y'all see this?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, sweet. Okay, I think I'm good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you all for being here today. I'm Quinn, my co-founder is Joaquin, and we are Legal Time AI, the AI platform for small law. Why small law? It might not seem obvious because the current revenue generated per attorney in big firms, the AmLaw 200, is 1.3 million compared to 257,000 in the underserved majority, small law. We believe we can rewrite this narrative by making infrastructure that will 10x the leverage of small firms with AI. To start, we wanted to figure out the best way to achieve maximum distribution and begin to reshape the industry from the ground up. So after 80 interviews with attorneys, we found that their number one problem was timekeeping. Timekeeping is not only the lifeblood of lawyers, but also what accounts for a 20% loss of all billable revenue. This loss is due to lawyers constantly switching context throughout the day, and at the end, trying to perfectly recall what they did for every 6 minutes. Without proper timekeeping, firms don't have data on how they spend human capital. If they want to take advantage of AI and be an early mover, time data is core to making informed decisions in the future around pricing, staffing, and understanding profitability. So at Legal Time AI, we've started with an AI timekeeper for small law. Lawyers will never touch a time entry again. As attorneys work, our passive on-device capture reads what they're doing, pulls case context, and uses LLMs to draft clean, billable narratives, each matched to the right matter and billing code, and queued for a quick end-of-day approval. Joaquin, what have we done so far?
Yeah. So we launched in April this year, and since then, we built partnerships with 8 different law firms. From these law firms, we've already collected $750 in revenue from free trial conversions and have an additional $10K in monthly revenue sitting in the pipeline for when the rest of our free trials convert. And how do we know this will happen? Well, we really think we've built something useful. In an ongoing case study with a running firm in San Francisco, we've seen a 21% boost in billable revenue since using Legal Time AI, which equates to a $6,000 monthly boost in revenue per attorney. At our price point of $125, this is a 50x return on their investment. Clearly an obvious purchase. Not only that, but we are confident that we can do this again and again as we scale. We are Joaquin and Quinn. We're CS and math majors at UCSB, and we both love the startup space. We recently won first out of 60 teams at UCSB startup competition. And additionally, Quinn won first at UCSB's hackathon this year. Quinn was also previously ranked in the top 0.001% of League of Legends players, and I bring a background in CS and robotics. We both look forward to continue to grow Legal Time AI. And so if you happen to know a lawyer that might benefit from this, or you want to connect after, please definitely let us know. Thank you. That's it. That's all I got.
Alrighty. Very cool, very cool. We'll go, we'll speed run this. So Kane, Stanton, you want to go?
Yeah, absolutely. Is there some sort of setting for sharing presentations in particular? Like I can see my ability to share my browser, but not a PowerPoint.
Just do browser. Should be fine.
Okay.
Is it on the same window? Because sometimes Google Meet doesn't let you do like multi-window sharing.
No, I mean like it literally, I don't see PowerPoint as an application as something that I can share.
Is it the title of your presentation by chance, or no?
Are you on the Chrome tab versus clicking over to window, or just sharing entire screen?
No, it gives me three options. It gives me Brave tab, which is my browser, and then I click over to window, but there's no listing. I can try closing and reopening a PowerPoint. I think that's a promising bet.
This is why I use Zoom. I wasn't kidding.
Worst case, you could just share your screen. But yeah.
Yeah.
Full screen.
Just take pictures and fax them to us. We'll get them.
Or maybe Kay, can Kay do the slides? Or
I can just pull them up on the browser. I think that's sufficient.
I agree.
Also, since it's relatively small room and all this info can be sent out afterwards, if people do have questions like in between presentation, we can ask real quick, or like put it in the chat in the middle. It should be fine. So yeah.
All right, let me know if you folks can see that.
Yeah, I see it. You can start.
All right, perfect. Hello, everyone. We are Amniotide. My name is Stanton Nowinski, and along with my co-founder, Kay Aryamer, we're building artificial intelligence to understand what drugs will work before they're developed. Now, this is not a particularly new problem. Drug companies, pharmaceutical companies, biotech companies have long had issues with being able to predict which drug candidates are the most promising. And it costs them billions of dollars every year. Testing, either in vitro or through clinical testing, is expensive. So these decisions, when they're not made correctly, are very costly. And we aim to solve that by essentially providing diagnostics for these companies to make decisions about which drugs will bind most effectively and produce the intended response in someone's body. Now, although it's not a new problem that we're solving, our approach is completely different. We understand that the interactions that matter between drugs and proteins cannot be analyzed simply by looking at every atom of a protein or a drug individually. Instead, we understand that these compounds are made up of functional groups, which we have essentially invented an architecture to feed those functional groups to our model itself. instead of current day models, which essentially just search for these structural motifs blindly. And not only are we able to give our model a faster rate of learning by doing so, but we're also able to give it essentially general intelligence thanks to cutting edge technology and machine learning, which means we have built one protein model to understand whether a protein has structural stability, how it will change when it binds to a drug, and even how much binding affinity a drug has for that particular protein, which means that every diagnostic these companies need to decide what's the most promising drug candidate, it comes from one model. And the proof is in the pudding. Despite the fact that our model trained on significantly less data than competing models, it was able to have comparable performance on mutation prediction for proteins. That's because our model learns more efficiently. By telling it which functional groups to look at, we're having it learn not blindly, but specifically from biologically grounded information. And that's what gives us a real edge over our competition. But why trust us in particular to build this company? Well, first of all, we invented the approach that we're taking to protein modeling. You'll have a hard time finding anyone else who has a degree of expertise in what we're doing. But even more than that, both me and Kay have proven experience in both machine learning and in structural biology. This summer, I'll be an AI/ML intern at NASA, while Kay will be working on cryo-electron microscopy research with Professor Niels Volkmann. Kay also has experience in graduate-level microfluidics, and both of us conduct research with Dr. Luke Yeager on structural RNA at UCSB. Now, with a product and a team that we're confident in, we're looking to raise a $2 million pre-seed round. Not only because our model needs to scale with our ideas, but also because it's time that we proved how effective we can be. Kay and I understand how revolutionary this technology is, but it's time that we put it in front of the public. Thank you.
Alrighty. Nag, if you want to get ready, and then if anyone has questions in the meantime.
Am I audible?
Alrighty, cool.
All right. Hi guys, I'm Nag. So great coffee is about passion and community. But when a brand grows from one shop to a chain, the owners get buried under layers of corporate overhead just to keep the doors open. And what we're building is essentially the operating system for small businesses, replacing manual paperwork with autonomous AI that actually works for coffee shops. So we're solving this in two clear phases. Phase one is operational autonomy. We're cutting out the chaos in the back office that keeps retail teams from focusing on their customers. Phase two is revenue acceleration. We focus on network intelligence to automate everything from picking the right store locations to managing complex supply chains. Now, what is the problem? Well, retail coffee is quite unforgiving. When managers rely on spreadsheets and random guessing, they're essentially leaking money. We see brands consistently lose 7% on labor due to scheduling mismatch, 12% on perishable waste, and at least 15 hours a week of manager time spent on simple data entry, which they could possibly use on training their employees. Our engine solves this by plugging into the store's existing POS, like Square or Toast, in minutes. It works in 3 steps. First, we listen, ingesting real-time sales data and local variables like weather, community events, and hyperlocal variables. And we use that to essentially predict when the store gets demand spikes and when does it get slammed. And third, we act. Our AI agents automatically adjust staff schedules and handle supply orders with just a single tap. Now, why do we care? Well, of course, coffee is essentially a $100 billion habit, but it's still remarkably inefficient. There's over $13 billion lost every year to basic logistical friction. CAFEX is bridging that gap by bringing enterprise-grade automation to a space that has been stuck using outdated tools for far too long. And so far, our results have been pretty good. Like we didn't build this as a side project. We built it with real cafes. We currently have 10 paid pilots running. We saved managers 8 hours of admin work every week, and we're claiming $1,000 per month in overhead per location. And we're already moving our partners towards a fully autonomous back office, where all that exists within a coffee chain is just the baristas and the owner. Now, we're operators who understand the rhythm of a busy kitchen. My background is in shipping products that hold up in high friction environments. And my goal is to scale it to 300 locations by year end. So if you're a brand owner who wants to reclaim your margin, or someone who's willing to learn more, speak more about this, then feel free to talk to me. Thank you.
Alrighty. John, if you want to get ready, and if anyone has questions in the meantime.
Alrighty. If anyone has questions for NAG, I'll wait. Otherwise, also seeing it.
We can just get started.
You're doing slightly. Alrighty.
Sounds good.
All right. So we believe that account executives are cooked. The reason is because they are spending 40% of their time planning and researching the accounts that they're trying to sell to. And that's 40% less time that they could have spent actually talking to buyers and potential users. If you're an account executive, and this is oftentimes the case where you are paid on a commission basis, the less time that you are spending selling is less income for you. So we're trying to shrink that gap and sort of give you that 40% of time back by using AI to automate the research process for you.
That's why we built RepClose. It's an account intelligence tool that's built on data that no AI touches. Boop. So I'm Sina. I'm one of the previously mentioned cooked account executives. I spent 3 years selling software to engineers as well as developers. And I experienced this problem firsthand. John?
Thank you, Sina. And I am John Linz. I am the technical co-founder of RepClose. I have published AI research in the past, and I've also scaled other software to 18K ARR and 32,000 active users.
To understand the problem a bit more, every quarter or every year, an enterprise account executive gets handed 200 accounts, knowing full well the majority of those accounts are not ready to buy this quarter. It's their privilege to understand which one of those accounts are ready to buy and spending their time on the right accounts. That's where this research comes in. Majority of the details they're looking for on people's GitHub profiles or LinkedIn profiles, job boards, as well as other proprietary tools. Some reps tend to skip this because you have to manage your time well, but that's where we come in.
Yeah. So we decided to make a fully end-to-end agentic system that does all of this for you. So instead of having 10 tabs open, and oftentimes, a lot of this data isn't even public, we decided to make an agent that not only recursively, very deeply scrapes all of this public data about each company that you're trying to sell to, but it also uses third-party APIs to get information from other databases that are not public information, such as like org charts and their tech stack and certain hiring signals, et cetera. And we put all of that together in a very convenient account plan. Sina.
So first, it starts with entering your ICP. So we want to first understand your ideal customer profile. So we tailor all the information to you. From there, you receive an account plan. And the thing that everyone cares about is, am I spending my time on the right account? That's where we give you the fit score. From there, we have the green flags, the red flags, kind of justifying the reason for the score, as well as any other detailed information you might want.
And one of those very important pieces of information is who you are trying to sell to. You might know the company, but who at that company should you reach out to first? Who's going to be your internal champion? Who are the decision makers? And these are huge companies, and sometimes their title alone doesn't give you enough information. And even if it does, you have to go and read through so many LinkedIn profiles manually. So this is a very key feature that we have, where our AI agent will actually read the LinkedIn profiles of everyone that works at that company. And then it says, based on your ICP, this is exactly who you need to reach out to. Here's their name, their LinkedIn, and their email address. And then not only that, but it tells you exactly what you need to say to them in the first message based on all of the context.
Today, our focus is we want account executives to spend their time on the right accounts, as well as have all the context they need to break into those accounts. But our vision is that we want to automate all manual work for account executives so they can focus on doing what they love, which is talking to customers and solving real problems.
Yeah, so we recently launched the MVP, and we had about 20 discovery calls, and we secured our first paying user. She used the product just a couple of times, and the aha moment for her was that all the information that our agent collected and created the account plan was the exact same information that she found herself manually for some past company she was trying to sell to. And she realized that there was an incredible amount of power here, because what can be done in 5 minutes is something that previously took, maybe about an hour. And so she was like, I'm sold. It took no more convincing, and she purchased a plan right there.
So if you do B2B sales, give us a try. I will promise you will learn something about an account that you've been working on for maybe even years that you never knew before. And if you are an investor who would be interested on having us solve this problem for your business, let's have a chat.
Yeah, and also if you do high-ticket B2B sales, go to repclose.com and test it out for yourself. Thanks.
Thank you.
Nice. Michael, you had a question, and then in the meantime, Victor, you can set up.
Yes, but I'm driving, so I don't necessarily want to. Can you hear me okay? I don't want to
Yeah, I can hear you.
go in and out. Cool. Yeah, so I've dealt with this issue quite a lot. I have 2 questions. One is, how are you correcting for hallucination, misinformation, etc.? I've done a lot of agent-based web research, and making sure everything is factually correct is a bitch. And then secondly, do you actually need to build your own and maintain your own user interface? Because I feel like the account-based management world, and the whole CRM world, they've already got a lot of logins. What they don't have is great information at their fingertips. So those are my 2 questions.
Yeah, I can answer that question as well, and then Sina, you can maybe touch up as well. So yeah, I do agree that there are a lot of sales tools out there, and no one wants another login, another dashboard. So we do, once we sort of prove product market fit, we do want to create an MCP protocol and then have that integrate with your CRM. But just for now, we're trying to prove that that there is product market fit. So we decided to just build a dashboard and then let people explore it. And if people are compelled enough to use it, then we'll eventually make it much easier for people.
It's kind of one of the benefits as well, where you don't have to get your RevOps team involved to set up another tool for you. You could just come on the platform and increase your productivity without basically getting your manager's approval for it.
I see Scott has a question as well. Looks like it's a timer.
And just to touch on the other question that you had, Michael, is sometimes it actually catches itself when there's 2 pieces of conflicting information, and it just gives you both of it, just because everything's ran through Claude at the end. So you basically have at least both conflicting pieces of information, so it doesn't lie to you.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it's low maintenance to maintain your own dashboard and login and UI. But I feel like the value here is probably in something like headless data augmentation, right? So the MCP you talked about, but I feel like it's more sophisticated than just an MCP. But yeah.
That's good advice. Yeah, thanks. We'll definitely. I think we've had some users suggest that as well, so we'll definitely look into that more. But yeah, thank you. And
For other questions, like you can answer them, or if Mike, you want to ask it in the chat, and then John, you can reply in the chat, so we can have this going at the same time. Cool. All right, Victor, you can get started.
Okay. So, hi everyone. We are Jevi, the voice first assistant for real estate agents. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Wait, did you hear me before?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Yep.
So, we had 40 plus customer discovery interviews with real estate professionals, including real estate agents, developers, and managers of brokerages. And we learned that on any given day, real estate agents get 100 plus increase through emails, texts, and phone calls. And they have a hard time following up on everybody, because when agents are not doing a tour, they're driving. On average, realtors drive 10 plus hours each week. That's 25% of their work week. And combine both of these things lead to a lack of a timely follow-up, which was what agents define as the primary reason behind missed deals and opportunities. There is existing software that tries to solve this problem of missed follow-ups, such as House Whisper AI or Follow Up Boss. But existing software prioritizes automation, not experience. A house is the biggest purchase of one's life. People want their hand held and they want the agent to be accountable behind the house they buy. They do not want just an automated AI reply. They want a person experience. This is why Jevi focuses on helping the realtors stay organized, not just being replaced. Here's how we do that.
Yeah, this is why we built Jevi. And Jevi is basically a voice assistant app that enables realtors to manage all their communications with a voice conversation. Each day, Jevi builds a prioritized, actionable list of all of the text and emails that are important for the realtor, and it, with a conversation with our voice agent, could respond to them. They could use it in the car while they're driving, right before or after a meeting with their client. And the important thing is that each action that they do is actually getting automatically synced in their CRM. We had 2 pilots at 2 local brokerages. Their agent managed to have more than 150 conversations with JV, our voice agent, and they completed more than 1,200 tasks through the app, where around 80 of them were actually new emails that were sent to clients to close deals.
And beyond local brokerages, there are 1.4 million realtors in the United States, which is the initial customer profile we are looking for. But our long-term vision is greater. While initially we are starting with helping real estate agents close more deals, we are really trying to learn what makes a property sell. And then once we learn how to do that, we want to become the first AI native brokerage and real estate developer. Thank you for your time. And we are open to new opportunities and conversations.
Alrighty. Last but not least. Arthur.
Alrighty. Sharing my screen.
Also, I'll probably end the recording after this, and then since we're gonna have time, like people can just ask questions then.
All right. You guys seeing this?
Yep.
All right. Amazing. Well, excited to be closing this off. I'm Arthur, founder of Narion Technologies, and we're building the autonomous aerial workforce for critical infrastructure. Our nation's grid is aging, and we cannot maintain it fast enough. Wildfire risk climbs every year, and today grid work is done by linemen climbing live towers and helicopter crews. These are some of the most dangerous and expensive jobs in the country. And over 40% of these linemen are unfortunately set to retire within the next decade. Meanwhile, demand is exploding. AI and data centers are pushing record load onto a grid that's already past its prime. We're asking it to work harder than ever with fewer hands to keep it running. So utilities are responding. You have $1.4 trillion getting spent in the next few years to modernize the grid. And so the money is there, but the hands to do the work is not. The industry already turned to drones for this, but only to look. Every drone company is building eyes for mapping, inspection, etc., but almost nobody is building hands. And seeing the problem is already getting commoditized. And so 10 years out, the value will not be in just spotting the problem, it'll be in fixing it. And so that's why we're building drones that don't just map the grid, but they maintain it. One platform that scales from clearing vegetation to installing bird diverters and repairing corroded conductors from the air. Robotics is about to have its ChatGPT moment. Soon, we'll have one model handling many tasks. Robots are going to be able to learn manipulation without being reprogrammed for it. But ultimately, whoever will own the data for a certain task will own that task. And so we're going to be collecting the only data set of drones working on live power lines. We will own the hands before the inflection, not after. Utilities are notoriously risk adverse, and the sales cycles are long. And so we're going to get in the door with we're going to get in the door as a mapping intelligence service with our own platform, the same one that will eventually do the manipulation. That earns trust, flying around power lines. It'll fund our R&D, and it'll put our hardware on corridors, building the relationships, the revenue, and the data flywheel that will get us to manipulation. The first stage, like I said, is owning mapping intelligence, specifically to detect vegetation encroachment around transmission lines. And then the next stage will be simple manipulation, forgiving repeatable contact tasks like installing bird diverters and line spacers. And then stage 3 will be dexterous maintenance, more complex tasks like repairing corroded conductors, replacing insulators, and clearing vegetation. Here's a quick video of our platform today, building a 3D model in real time. Because ultimately, before acting on the land, you need to understand it comprehensively. We have a paid pilot with a fire department in NorCal to deliver pre and post prescribed burn mapping analytics, and we're backed by Entrepreneurs First with a $250K pre-seed check. And on me, I just graduated mechanical engineering at UCSB. I've been building drones for over 4 years. Last year, demoed drone tech to the Pentagon. I was awarded $6,000 in grants to build a wildfire mapping drone. And also a month ago, a tied winner in the new venture competition at UCSB. And we're closing our seed round this fall. And so if you want to be part of this mission of owning America's autonomous aerial workforce, I'd love to chat. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, congratulations to our first cohort of the UCSB Accelerator. It's all good for the recording. If anyone has questions for anyone that went in the last 6 pitches, let me know.
Yeah, I had one. This would be for John and Rep Close. But first, congrats, Arthur. I think the last time we chatted, I think we did a call with my buddy Nate, you and I, and congrats on getting some EF money and kicking it up. I don't think you had that when we chatted, so yeah, congrats.
Thank you very
But
much.
John, I had a question. How are you getting the LinkedIn data?
So there's an IP proxy that is able to scrape LinkedIn, and it looks like it's coming from a regular person. So it's not coming from like an AWS API, IP or anything like that. And so that's how it's able to scrape it, as if it's like a regular user.
So are you wiring up the proxy service and rotating IPs, or is there a
No,
LinkedIn
we
scraper?
use a third party for that.
Okay. And are those authentic? I assume those are logged in profiles or not?
No, I don't think so. It gives us an incredible amount of information. I'll have to actually look more into that, because it might be, because I know when it's logged out, the amount of information is limited, but
Yeah,
it gives
that's
us
what
an
that's
incredible amount. But yeah, I can follow up with you on that.
Yeah, I was just curious. I build other stuff that like scrapes LinkedIn, and it's always just such a pain.
Yeah.
And they just are very good at like banning you constantly. So I was just curious.
Any other questions?
Quinn, are you asking like what a residential proxy is?
No, I just if it was like a residential proxy, but no.
Oh, you knew before I said it. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Cool.
Hey, congrats everyone. I just have a quick question for Arthur and his team. Are you building your drones by yourself, or are you implementing it from a third party?
Well, absolutely, we are building our drones by ourselves. Definitely initially, a huge, a very compelling opportunity would have to present itself where we would have a hardware partner. But yeah, the whole point is that we want to build aerial manipulators, and right now no drone can do that. And so we are building our current systems. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then how many drones have you built so far since you first started out?
Since I first started out, it's
Yeah.
been like more so an iteration. You know, we're not like mass manufacturing drones. And so yeah, building a variety. We've built a few different airframes. We have 3 different airframes. But it's mainly one that we make upgrades on.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.